Hi everyone, back again with Insider Beyond the Title series. Which is an insider thought leadership series where we basically invite all the tech execs around the world to join and share their thinking, their love, their passion to inspire everyone in the industry. So, joining us with me today is Dayu Dara from Pinhome. Dayu, how are you today?
I'm excellent. What about you, Harris? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, by the way, because it's a holiday today in Indonesia. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Absolutely, pleasure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So before we go to the formal part, let's start with a quick round of introduction. So can you please introduce yourself to everyone? Who is Dayu Dara?
Hi, everyone. My name is Dayu Dara. I'm CEO, founder of Pinhome. Right. Pinhome is a full stack property e-commerce. That's how we define ourselves. We facilitate property transaction end to end, from discovery, listing, finding the right agent, scheduling visits, estimating property, price, negotiating the price, applying mortgage, to signing up for home insurance and home services. Our vision is basically to make property more accessible for a better livelihood and financial inclusion. And we do that by providing a technology platform where we organize information and interactions about property transactions for all stakeholders in the sector.
Awesome. So it's an end-to-end property marketplace and commerce, I can say. So you basically facilitate everything. Yeah, yes. I mean, like finding property, especially I think in Jakarta, where I live with, is pretty frustrating. So that's really thanks you for that, for founding Pinhome. Okay, but when I saw, like your experiences, I saw something interesting over there, right? So for you who may have known or may have not known that Dayu is actually one of the founding team member of Go Live from the GO-JEK, which I think is something that I would like to take a peek. So and then like before the camera rolls, actually Dayu share with us a couple of very inspiring pictures of her, how basically she had empowered like most of the disabled, I think, people and workforce in Indonesia particularly. So Dayu, can you share about to us like about your experience over there?
Yeah. So I was a consultant earlier in my career. I had spent around 4 years at one of the global consulting firm, McKinsey Company. Before then, I decided to join GO-JEK. So I joined GO-JEK back in 2015, where they just launched its first versions of applications. I was among the first 15 management team of GO-JEK, so the first 15 people. And I joined when they were just done with their Series A, and people barely knew the brand. Then I stayed for about 5 years, basically 5 years till end of 2019. And at the end of that, GO-JEK was basically officially the probably top 3 decacorns in Southeast Asia, with over 3 million drivers, 500,000 merchants, and hundreds of thousands of service providers on its platform, with over 7,500 employees in 5 different countries, including India. So that was massive. I was part of that journey. It was a roller coaster ride, where quarter to quarter we were like doubling, if not tripling. And my role there was, I was responsible for 2 things. One was I was responsible for incepting the non-transport services, with among others the on-demand lifestyle services. You mentioned about those service providers like masseuses, beauticians, cleaners, mechanics, so that non-transport services. Also on demand, I was also managing and leading the on-demand commerce verticals, such as on-demand concierge service called GoShop, on-demand grocery delivery called GoMart. There was a ticketing service called GO-TIC. So the Go So and So that were non-transport, that's my responsibility. Outside that, also I was responsible for expansion of the core transport and food services of GO-JEK to cities outside the top 10 cities. So 2016, GO-JEK were only operating in top 10 cities of Indonesia. then our intention was to be available in all of Indonesian cities, first, second, and even up to the third-tier cities. Indonesia has around 514 cities, and my job was to expand to as many cities as possible. And at the end of that, we were available in around plus 200 plus cities in Indonesia. So that was the story of my 5 years in GO-JEK. And then I left GO-JEK in 2019, around end of November, to start my own venture with my CTO co-founder, Ahmed Al Junaid. And so basically, that's the start of Pinhome. Pinhome is a seed stage, 8-month-old company. But so far we've been growing strong. We have a 140 people team on the ground, and we hope to grow 40 to 50x on revenue this year.
Wow! Within 8 months, you grow it into like a 140 people company. Congratulations for that.
Thank you, Harris.
Cool. Yeah. So it was quite interesting for every audience that might not know about GO-JEK. Is actually, I think, one of the most progressive tech company in the world. Their year-to-year growth is insane, I can say, and I'm very fortunate to have that experience to share this stage with you, Dayu, which is part of one of the founding team members. So we gotta take a peek on that in the session. Okay. Cool.
Sure.
So we gotta change gears. So we're gonna go into more serious questions, but let's keep it, fluid. Okay. So, what is your Ikigai? What is the reason that you jump, out of your bed each and every morning?
I'd like to think that my Ikigai is solving problems and getting things done. So I think being a problem solver is what I'm good at, what the world needs, and my duty as a founder also what I love. My 16 years of education was about solving problems on paper, the mathematical science, social problems on paper, and getting good grades, all that. After college, my first 2 jobs taught me how to solve corporate problems. So I was my first job. I spent a year working as a corporate strategy specialist at one of Indonesia's largest telecom company. And then the next 4 years I spent at McKinsey as a consultant, where I serve over 30 plus clients and in from 20 different sectors, solving their most pressing issues. And basically, those academic and professional experiences equip me with good problem solving skills. And the very same skill sets basically now equip me to be a full-time founder entrepreneur. So I have this kind of mind checklist, right? Before going to bed, I will go through at the end of the day what problems were solved today, what was done well, and what needed to improve, basically. And the next day when I wake up, when I get up again, I go through the same kind of mind checklist again and think about what's going to be my focus, my problem focus for today, what I want to solve, and what to get done, basically. And this just gets me jump out of bed every morning. And I think also the same checklist could keep me awake at night if some critical problems are not solved, especially if it involved if it's critical and it involves customers or team members, employee. So that's my Ikigai.
Wow, yeah, that's the hard thing about hard things, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like I remember some of the, wise person, he told me basically that, you don't have to try to change the world, but solving one problems at a time, that will eventually get you there. Right?
And just imagine 7 billion populations doing the same thing, solving problems big and small. I think this world will be a better place when we leave it than when we start it. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I got a goosebump, by the way. Thank you. That was awesome. Which movie character best represents you and why?
Right. Which movie character? I think I thought about it, and I was reflecting on my kind of personal values, history, experiences, character skill sets, and the politically correct answer would be, is that each of us is very unique in every way possible, like our physical properties, DNA, fingerprints, everything, skin color that's different. No one has the same exact life experiences, paths, opportunities, challenges. But the fun answer, right, would be, I think, characters from Modern Family. So that's my all-time favorite movie series. I don't know if I'm sure many people know the series, and if you watch the series, these characters will be familiar to you. I feel I grew up behaving like Alex, so the middle child of the protagonist, Phil and Claire Dunphy, who is an insecure overachiever, very determined, stubborn, pragmatic, very academic focused character, basically. So that was me growing up, through my education years. But then now that I'm past my quarter life, getting older, I see myself growing into uh, Phil Dunphy. I don't know if you. So Phil Dunphy is it's a character that's very childlike. Could be seen as clumsy. But it's not because of that. I think I associate myself with Phil because I like Phil. I love what I do. He's a realtor. I just love what he does, which is real estate industry, and I could relate to that because I'm very passionate about property and real estate. I was a renter of property, turned buyer, and then investor. Ended up having 10 properties, managing those myself, and now I'm a founder in a prop tech sector, right? So he's humorous. I think he tries to act cool and young, and I consider myself also humorous. That's how I cope with challenges, daily challenges. I think, and yes, we all day to day try to solve problems, but sometimes I like to laugh at it and while trying to tackle it. Just like Phil, I'm also a dreamer, entrepreneur. So I think I also have a bit of a ADHD, which he has. So I think that's the character that I can tell.
Wow. Okay. So like Phil is also from the Modern Family.
Right, Philip is from Modern Family. Is basically the protagonist. Is the dad of Alex.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm not watching it, but my fiance loves it a lot.
Oh yeah, you should watch it. Definitely should watch it.
A Sophie Vergara over there, but it was an interesting answer. Yeah. So the summary is that like when you have surpassed your quarter life, then you might be a little bit clumsy at some point. But of course, there are certain more serious traits that you've also obtained. But yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a very interesting world that we're living in right now, Dayu. Everything is, with the new protocol, they call it like, new normal, and then everyone is working from home. So what app that you could not live without whilst you're working from home, especially, and why? Like which app that you could not live without?
Right. It's hard to think about just one single app. I would like to think about ecosystem, but basically Google is my kind of day-to-day operating system as a founder. The whole Google ecosystem, checking Gmail. Yeah, the G Suite, basically. Checking Gmail is the first thing I do when I get up. The last thing I do before I go to bed, to check, daily statistic, company performance, to give approvals, to review documents, so that I don't become bottleneck for my team. The entire Google folder, spreadsheet, Google Words. That's basically where we dump our collective thoughts and all of our proprietary knowledge, information, and assets as a company, as a technology company, all in the cloud instead of relying on, kind of someone else's physical hard drive or device, right? All of our meetings are on calls, huddles, problem solving, sessions, you name it, all on Google Hangout. It's just because it's very easy, right? Because everything is on the Google ecosystem. Of course, you could do Zoom, etc. Occasionally, I use Zoom, but I think I could completely rely on Google Hangout for that. I spend 1 to 2 hours a day, basically, on YouTube, on my idle, less productive kind of time or hours, where when I'm getting ready or like during meals, I would watch YouTube to kind of learn from world's greatest minds and entrepreneurs, speeches, presentations, or conferences. So like Peter Thiel, Zach, or Elon, or Ray Dalio, and I think it's an immense amount of learning you can get from that single platform. And I mean, not to mention Google Maps and Google search, right? So yeah, the entire without the entire Google ecosystem, I would say that work from home would be impossible.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, we're also using the entire Google Suite. I think we're living in a cloud, in a cloud era right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned specifically about YouTube, right? And then like, these thought leaders that you watch, how they deliver the speech, their ideas, and their practice, etc. Like, can you possibly like recommend one channel to all of our audience that could, inspire them on like what are the channels that Dayu Dara watch every time that she has lunch?
I don't stick to just one channel. I follow great minds, and I think it's good for you to complete your perspective, so you just don't kind of hear or listen to just one person's opinion, or it doesn't matter how great he or she is. So I just follow great minds, entrepreneurs. Most of them are kind of Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. Yeah, and there's so many different channels that they can be that medium. So basically I just scroll through speeches from, depending on what topic I wanted to hear. So one, of course, because I'm in prop tech, I would just search using prop tech keywords and what's like the latest and greatest thinking in prop tech. Or if not, then if I'm looking for specific topics like network effect, right? And I really like kind of this one channel that talks about network effect a lot. I forgot how to spell it because it's an abbreviation. Yeah, I think. But if you look it up, I think it's NFX. NFX. That's one of the channels that I really follow. So that's for network effects topic. And there's so many other topics, and you just need to know what's gonna be your go-to person or your go-to channels for a specific topic. So I think that'd be awesome.
Wow, that's a great advice. So, like, who is your go-to person, and then like, what they're interested in, and what are the topics, and try to find it in YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
So we've talked earlier about the quarter life, right? So like 25, 26, 24, and it's related to my next question. So if you could give like one advice to your 21-year-old self, what it would be?
So 21-year-old, I was in college, just graduated. If I were to give myself notes, right, to my younger self, what would that be? I think first is that don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay to make mistakes and be less than perfect. And a lot of us, especially my archetype, the type A personality, insecure overachiever, we thought that it's not okay to make mistake. It's not okay to not be perfect. I just don't. That would have just eased up a lot of my burden and reduced stress. I got stressed out a lot when I was younger. Move fast, but once in a while, step back, pause, and reflect to see if you're heading to the right direction, right? Because oftentimes you are so caught up with the day-to-day, with the activities, but then you don't remember why are you there to begin with, why are you doing this, and sometimes you burn yourself out for things that are more short-term. Just need to remember that life is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So it's important for you to maintain your well-being so you can be in it for the long term. And lastly, I think don't worry or wonder too much on things that you cannot control. Don't get stressed out. Just focus on what you have control over, and just have faith that things will work out just fine. Yeah.
Awesome. So like, don't be hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. You should be hard on yourself. But like, see where you're going to. If you don't know yet, pause, reflect, and like keep pushing. But make sure that you know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly, Harry.
Okay, and then like, we're gonna advance from the 21-year-old self to like, the right, the nowadays condition, right? So you've become like leaders right now, at Pinhome, and then previously, I think, at McKinsey as well, and as well as GO-JEK. And as a leader, can you like, share with us like what is or what are the harshest feedbacks that you have ever received?
Right. There are two types of harsh feedback, right? One is the one that's constructive, it just slaps you in the face, but you know it's true, but it's actionable, it's constructive. And this type of feedback are usually strength-based. It starts with, and the conversation will usually go like this, like, oh, you know what, you've been amazing at this, and these are your strengths, and but there are areas to improve, and this is how you can use your strength to basically improve on those weaknesses, right? So that's the harsh, but can actionable. And the other type will be, harsh feedback, and you feel that it's just very what you call it, it's damaging, and there's a very kind of thin line between non-constructive feedback that's harsh and bullying, or like just judgment, right, or labeling. And I think I've experienced both, right? And as if you want to go move forward and not be demotivated, you should focus more on feedback that are how do you call it, like, constructive, actionable, right? I rely on few people to give me this type of harsh but constructive feedback. My co-founder, my team members, my peers, my seniors, my mentors. I rely on them on this. And one of the feedbacks that's quite constructive that I received when I was earlier, I mean, in my career when I was younger, was that, hey, you're a great process manager, you're a great manager, but you're not yet a great leader. And so I try to learn, what does it take for me to be a great leader, and what does constitute a great manager? How could it be that I'm a great manager now but not a great leader? Then I learn about the different nuances of what great manager means and what great leader means. And I spent the past 6 years learning about both and trying to be great at both, because you need both to build great team, to build great products, to achieve great performance, and eventually build great sustainable profitable business. Right. So then I learned about, like, how being manager, it's about understanding what is the strategy, finding and allocating resources to achieve that strategy, mobilizing resources, including kind of your team members, your organization, and then monitor the executions and implement those, and then monitor the execution, and then go back to the initial strategy and see how far you've come and what needs to be improved, and then you kind of do the cycle again. So that's being a great manager. But then being a great leader is about three things, right? One is about painting the picture of the future, building great vision, right? And I didn't have that when I was younger. And the second one is about how you manage people, right? You hire, attract, recruit, retain, develop the best talents. I didn't have that when I was younger. For my first 5 years working professionally, I was just an individual contributor, so I never managed anyone, and I never managed like human being like responsible for other human beings with emotions. And one day they could be very excited, they get it, and they move fast. The other day they could be demotivated and they just don't get it and they move slow, right? So that, and it's about managing people. And then lastly is about, like, how do you build this engine called culture, so that I think there's the right DNA of those people that you attract, you hire, you recruit, and you develop. And that I just learned the past 6 years, and it's still working in progress. Now, what about the harsh yet non-constructive feedback? There's so many of that, and it came in different shape and form, and usually comes from people that don't matter. It's just noises that you have to filter out. I mean, some of them can be a motivation, just so that you can prove them wrong. So kind of commentaries like, hey, you don't belong in technology because of whatever things that you cannot change. For example, your gender, right? Or kind of your educational background. It's all in the past. It's done already, right? So that, yes, I've received that. I've received feedback where maybe people couldn't take you seriously because you look young and experienced, and probably you're the only female, or so that I've received. And I used to fear speaking in public. So I was told that, like, oh, I don't think you're a good public speaker, you shouldn't speak in public and just focus on maybe writing, you can be a good writer. So then that type of feedback that was very limiting, giving you that kind of self-limiting beliefs, making you like confident. But yeah, I think that's our job to filter out, and that's our job to if you don't agree with that, then just prove them wrong.
Wow, yeah. So like, here which one is the noise,
Yeah,
and then like focus to the one that's that matters. And regarding like the being a great manager and being a great leader, I think Dayu has just shared the $1 million advice, guys. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're still gonna be in a topic about leadership, Dayu. So like you've started your own company like 8 months ago, right? And then I think you've done a tremendous job, growing it, from zero, I think, to like 140, big right now.
Yeah.
And like, and then like the COVID hits, right? So what is like the biggest leadership challenge that you faced during this crisis, especially?
Yeah. I think firstly, keeping all team members, including myself, motivated despite the isolation and stress, right? We're social being. All of a sudden, we can't freely go outside and meet people and meet in person. And because we know that, and this was the mindset pre-COVID, that culture is not built through kind of Slack messages or like emails or virtual calls. It's built through that in-person interactions, when you handshake, when you hug each other, and when you high five each other, you see everyone face to face. Then COVID hit, and we were forced to kind of run the business remotely, right? So keeping team motivated, that's one. Secondly, it's like information asymmetry. Cost of communication could be really high during a given team fragmentation. So how do we make sure that the team is intact? Everyone communicates well. There's no information asymmetry. There's no silo, right? So that's secondly. And thirdly, I mean, this is the fundamental, right? Ensuring that as a business we can not just survive but thrive through the pandemic. So we started 2020 setting ourselves a very aspirational goals of growing like 40-50x in revenue and top line, and that aspiration still holds true. Of course, we have because of a lot of the externalities, uncertainties, we have kind of scenario, right? There's a positive, optimistic scenario. There's this most likely, and then there's the pessimistic scenario, kind of the worst scenario. We were just we were hopeful for the best, but we're prepared for the worst. Luckily, I think for Indonesia, I think that we at least will fall in the either most likely, if not optimistic scenario. And for the optimistic scenario, we still hold that aspirations true, which is we want to grow 40-50x this year. And I think we're on track for the optimistic scenario.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, the team that sticks together during the crisis are the team gonna get up back stronger, right?
Of course, yes. I think everyone will come out of this stronger. That's for sure.
Awesome. We'll definitely wish it the best for that.
Yeah.
Cool. So these next questions are quite related to each other. So I'm going to put it together. So what is your prediction, for the new normal? And then, obviously, I don't know like when the vaccine will comes out, but we heard rumors, right? And it's going to be like maybe 2021, probably like second half of 2021. And then like, I want to take that into like your industries, the property industry, right? What do you think will change after the pandemic ends? And especially for the property industries?
Yeah. I think let's talk about it generally first. These aren't predictions because it's happening as we speak now, right? That digital product and services, they become necessity, not just nice to have. Online adoption of everything that's digital is accelerated, and conversely, every offline businesses are just decelerated. The tele and virtual services are on the rise. You will hear the obvious like telemedicine, of course, teleeducation, virtual property viewing specific for property, but also the less obvious like virtual wedding, virtual dating, and I don't know what else. Some sectors are severely affected by COVID. They have to reimagine the business in short term, in the immediate term, basically. Not limited to, but it includes kind of ride hailing, the online travel industry, intercities, international travel, offline retail, F&B, hospitality, tourism, out-of-home advertisements, oil and gas included. Now, I think reimagining means that either they need to diversify or readjust prices to compensate for the significantly less volume, right? I think also that they could completely pivot to segments that are more pandemic proof if the current kind of business or model it's just kind of hopeless, right? So like as you see, ride hailing, it's severely affected. It diversifies now to food delivery, to logistic payment services. And that's the story with Gojek and Grab, and yes, and some same story also with airline companies, which are now kind of using the idle capacity, maybe going for logistic, because I think government subsidies and bailouts won't be there forever. Other industry like offline, that are more fragmented, like offline F&B or fashions or retailers, they all need to go online because that's where customers are. Customers are not walking outside and in the physical space going to malls. They all stay at home. And for some industries like offline or out of home advertisements, they just have to accept the fact that their services are irrelevant, right, for the time being. And especially during lockdown, and we don't know until when. That really depends on vaccines and cure for COVID. Now, what will change permanently and how it's going to affect property? I think I come from the intersections of property and technology, right? That and I believe that the innovation. I think that the innovation of bits and binary basically will be integrated at a deeper level for property sector, real estate sector, and that would touch upon, for example, discovery and viewing. It has been online for the past many years with e-classified, right? But even it will go, I think it will continue to be online and will be made more advanced, for example, with virtual reality technology for virtual viewing. Or augmented reality for modeling and renovations and furnishings and fit out, right? There will be a significant readjustment for property sale and rental, I think, for the prices, readjustment of prices because of the massive restructuring given defaults and an equilibrium between demand and supply. You see that some type of properties like apartments downtown in a crowded area, previously rented out, now are going empty, right? So for those type of properties, definitely the price will go down. Some others, for example, landed house and affordable landed house, basically in a less dense neighborhood, outskirt, satellite cities, so will be on really high demand. I don't know if there'll be enough of that for the demand, right? So I think technology like artificial intelligence or machine learning will really help us adjust and reach that new equilibrium of price where kind of supply and demand can intercept kind of well, right, in a steady manner. I think there's also some changes around repurposing properties that were previously consumer facing, so like the retail space, right, and change it and repurposing it to be more of an operational base. So for example, for F&B, many of the restaurants change their space to be cloud kitchen that only serves kind of delivery, or there's no dine-in, right? Just delivery and then for pickups only. And they rely on food delivery services like GoFood or GrabFood, basically to survive. So there's no more interactions with directly with consumers. And this is where kind of again, machine learning, AI, it will be the core technology that enable those changes to give recommendations of what's going to be the equilibrium of price, what's going to be the right purpose of this property. This is where we really hope that we can help out, right, in the sector. Indonesia does not have yet like the equivalent of kind of Zillow with the Zestimate, or doesn't have the equivalent of kind of more established iBrokerage like Compass or Redfin. So we really hope that we will see the movement in this space for this type of model and technology.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, in every cloud there's a silver lining, and I think not to mention that the COVID is good. Not, it's not. But I think it forces some of the industries, some of the, cluster of people that have never, I think, experienced technology before to really adopt that in their daily life. And especially it's quite, buying houses, finding property to lease is quite essentials, right? And I think the industry has not been fully revolutionized, for the last, 10, 20 years. As you mentioned, it's mainly classified.
Correct.
But really providing, facilitating the end-to-end services for people to really find property to lease or, or a house to live in. I think that will definitely thrive. I wish you all the best for that.
Thanks so much, Harris. Much needed.
Cool. So we gotta be. So the next question it's not gonna be a serious one. Okay. So what is one weird fact about you, Dayu?
I didn't think it was weird because someone told me it's actually extra. I collect perfume, so I have over 1,000 bottles. I really like 1,000 bottles. I'm not kidding. Perfumes at home, and I just like it because it reminds me of memories. It reminds me of a person. Reminds me of a moment. So then when I wanna relive a moment or like kind of reminisce the past, and I'll just pick one perfume and spray it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this reminds me of that moment. Yeah, I think it's weird.
Well, I think everyone likes to collect, something, but 1,000s of perfume that quite remarkable, by the way. And what is your tell us about like top 3 of your favorite?
Oh, that's hard. I don't.
It's very hard for you to barely could remember.
I think it's not about the scent; it's about the moment. I have some perfume that reminds me of my, when I was younger. That was. It's even hard to find the brand, so it was because it was discontinued, right? So I find like the equivalent of that, like, oh my god, this reminds me of that perfume when I was still in high school and I was an exchange student and life was great. It was just like fun 1 year. I studied abroad for a year in the US. There's that perfume. I mean, I don't even remember the brand.
Because like you use senses, right, when you try to reconnect with some past memory experience. Me myself, I used to reconnect with songs,
right, those songs,
because it has some past eras and stuff, right? But you can really smell and remember and reminisce those days. That's remarkable.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, songs are very powerful, definitely.
Okay. Interesting. So Dayu. I was like, Dayu Dara or Dayu Dara.
Oh, it works either way.
I think, people might call you also like either Dayu or Dara, but yeah. So what is your motto in life, Dayu?
I think as an entrepreneur, there's one line that I like. It keeps me going, and it says that persevere or pivot, but don't quit till you make it. And that's the mantra.
Okay, so let me repeat it again. So pivot, but don't be quick.
So you only have 2 options, right? Persevere or pivot. There's only that 2 options, and don't quit till you make it. I mean, entrepreneurship is kind of only 10% success rate, and so then you think it's hard. And what really caused that 90% to drop off from the entrepreneurship journey? It's basically because they quit before they make it, and they didn't have enough energy or will or grit or wit to either persevere or pivot. So my motto is persevere or pivot. Just don't quit till you make it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that, everyone. Okay. Cool, Dayu. I think it has been a very interesting conversation this afternoon. I want to sincerely thank you, myself, and also on behalf of Insider. It's a holiday today in Indonesia, and then being an entrepreneur, and then with that, I think back-to-back meetings and very packed schedule, you would like to spend like 1 hour to share with everyone about your ideas, your thinking, and your passion. Thank you so much for that. And I would like to end the session. Wish you have like everything and the best for Pinhome and your life, and stay safe with your family.
Thanks so much, Harris. Thanks, Insider, for having me. Absolutely great to be here. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay safe, stay productive. Yeah, keep pushing.